Don Mazzella here again for Small Business Digest. We've always said that every company should have a elevator pitch about their company that every one of their employees should know about and mimic at least once a day. So we have with us Precious Williams. Uh, she's a master at it, and she's going to help us, particularly me, figure out our pitch. Precious, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you. I'm so delighted to be here.
Okay. As we ask all our guests, first, Precious, tell us a little bit about yourself personally, then about your company, and then finally a website where people can learn more.
Okay. So, good day, everyone. I am Precious Williams, and I am a woman who is just like each and every one of you. I grew up in the inner city of St. Louis, Missouri. There was no professionals in my family, and yet I knew when I was 5 years old I'd be on TV like Phil Donahue and Sally Jesse Raphael in
Hmm.
the hood. That sounds crazy, but it turns out I was right. And so I had a mother who never wanted me and a father who was a drug addict.
Hmm.
And yet there was a speaker in me. And it wasn't until I was 15 years old when my grandparents stepped in to raise me that my grandmother told me, when you speak, people listen. I should have paid her more attention. My first speaking engagement was before the mayor of the city of St. Louis. My second was before the governor of Missouri. So I started off with a bang. But it wasn't until I finished law school, became an attorney in the great state of New York, that I realized, hated it. And then I met the love of my life, who was a very famous Hollywood actor. And he inspired me to start my first company, Curvy Girls Lingerie, the ultimate shopping experience for full figure divas and plus size fashionistas. I was 327 pounds. You heard me right, 327 pounds, size 28. And no one wanted to invest in my company because they said you're too fat, too black, and didn't have an Ivy League degree. Sounds like a challenge, right? And I know y'all been told what you cannot do. So what I did is I went to an event I could not afford and pitched to the producers of MSNBC. And from that very first pitch that I did not prepare for, I just gave it on the spot. They put me on Your Business with JJ Ramberg 10 years ago. And in 54 seconds, I walked away with $500,000.
Hmm.
And then I was told, go to pitch competitions because the way you pitch is totally different. And it was. So out of 14 competitions, I came out on top 13 times. And then people were wanting to throw money my way. So my gift is being able to get prospects to throw money your way and go from prospects to repeat clients, repeat buyers, repeat customers. And so I started Perfect Pitches by Precious, which was my second company. Appeared on Shark Tank, CNN, Wall Street Journal, Forbes magazine, you name it. I've been in movies and documentaries. Yes, still that girl from St. Louis, Missouri. I live in New York City. And then with Perfect Pitches by Precious, the love of my life, that actor died.
Hmm.
And so for 2 years, I struggled to deal with the grief, became a severe alcoholic, lost everything. And in 2018, I came back on the scene, walked out of homelessness September 1st, 2018, not knowing that the very things that got me to the top the first time, I would do it all over again, but I would do it bigger in front of different audiences. So when I came out of that, my first speaking engagement was for Bottomless Closet, which led me to J. Jill, Saturday Night Live, Viacom, MTV, VH1, BET, and then it kept coming. LinkedIn, Google, Microsoft, Federal Reserve Bank, Intuit, QuickBook. I can keep going. So I've made every mistake. I've had bad things happen. And yet pitching is the very thing, from the elevator to the media, to the investor, to the sales, to the speaker and the interview pitch. I'm a world-class master communicator, training over 300 pitch champions who've appeared on the Shark Tanks and the big shows of the world. And they've actually gotten the clientele they never thought that they could. So again, I am the proud founder and CEO of Perfect Pitches by Precious. My website is www.perfectpitchesbyprecious.com. As a four-time number one best-selling author, if you go on my website and go to the Work With Me page, you can see all four of my books there for purchase. It's called the Fantastic Four Bundle. And it just feels really good to be here to showcase that you don't have to look, sound, and act like Hollywood to be accepted. And so when I walk into spaces, whether my hair is blue, pink, gold, red, or whether my nails are money green like a CeeLo, they accept me because I really am the best in the world when it comes to pitching. And that's why they call me the killer pitch master, because I'm hired to help you slay all competition. Was that good?
Well, let's put it this way: you don't hide yourself under a rock.
Not at all. Not at all. And it's not bragging if it's true. That's all I want to say.
All right. So, well, let's start with the first question. What's the basic basis of a pitch? What should a person realize a pitch is for, and what should they be looking for to do?
Okay, so just so we're all clear, a pitch is a brief, short way of introducing you, your products, your books, your brand, your services in a way that captivates and titillates and makes others want to get closer to the sale or to that great relationship or to that great referral, right? And so when you think about it like that, the basics of a pitch, if you're just doing a basic pitch, is who you are. Listen to this, y'all. Who you are, what you do, who you serve. What is some secret sauce about you that no one else can duplicate? And finally, what is your call to action? I told y'all that's the basics of a pitch. But if you want to go into killer pitch mode, we take it to the next level completely. So I want you to think about this, the difference between a plate versus the fork. So a pitch, when you think about how you present yourself, oftentimes people will give a full meal deal, who they all the things, and that's too much for people. But when you take a look at that fork, this plate that represents you, your abilities, your skill sets, your talents, your network, and all these other kind of things, a pitch is that first fork into that plate. So it captivates and titillates. It's a juicy morsel. And if you give it to them bite by bite and intrigue them, they'll keep coming back for more. And that's how you turn a prospect into a client or customer, into a rabid fan, a rabid follower who's referring you, booking you, hiring you, and putting you out there. So again, I always ask my clients, have you been given the plate or have you been given a fork? Most times people give the plate because they think people need to know everything about you. They don't, not when they first meet you. So in the killer pitch mode, here's some thoughts that I want you to consider. Once you understand basics, once you understand if you're going for the plate or the fork. Number one, start off with a question, a startling statistic, or a quote. For those of us who go to networking groups, meetings, a lot of people will start off with their name and the name of their company. Nobody cares. Let me say it again. Nobody cares. But you start with a question, a startling statistic, or a quote, you've interrupted the pattern of boring. Now you don't sound like anybody else. So if they're looking at their phone, they're dropping phones, like, what'd she just say? Mm-hmm. For example, ladies, raise your hands if you want to be a bad bitch with a power pitch. They don't raise their hands. I'll be like, fellas, I ain't forgot about you. Fellas, raise your hands if you want to be a bad man with a master pitching plan. Now, some women will clutch pearls, some women will raise their hand, and men will raise their hand. But you know what they did? They engaged immediately. Something about it. Number two, what is the particular problem or challenge your target market has in their language? Not in this beautiful flowery language about manifesting. Like, that's cute. But what's that real problem? So for me, I thought people always wanted to know about pitching. They didn't, because some people don't want to be on Shark Tank. They just want to know, how can I get people to pay attention to me? I don't know how to speak well publicly. I don't know how to do any of that. So I can't think of pitching, which means that how I was approaching pitching was making it sound like it was this big event. So I had to take it into everyday language. Do you want to bait, attract, and close? Do you really want people to pay you attention right now and see you as the only choice that matters? The only choice, whether you have a product or service. Number three, we talked earlier about in the basic pitch, giving your secret sauce. If you notice when I introduce myself, you notice numbers in there. 13-time national champion, 4-time #1 best-selling author, top corporate trainer to top Fortune 500 companies. Y'all can also see I'm Black on both sides, no Brazilian butt lift, no six-pack abs. The reason why I say that is because it makes people laugh, because they're not used to seeing a Black woman who will come in, who knows about herself and is confident enough to say it. Because if I walk down the street, no one says, oh, she's an attorney. Oh my God, she went to Spelman and Rutgers. Oh my God, she went to Georgetown. Oh my, because you can't see that on me. So I got to let you know, so it's clear from the very beginning who I am and how you should see me. Finally, if you do have press and publications and things like that, let's say you're trying to get in someone's inbox, make sure the last thing you put in there is something that relates to press. So I've been in Forbes magazine twice for 2 out of 4 of my books. 2 out of 4 of my books have had billboards in Times Square that I did not pay for. Earned media. How did I do it? So it really validates who you are. And if you don't have that, work towards that, right? Because I didn't always start off like that. And I was homeless 4 years ago. So look at my trajectory. In fact, yesterday, so they had the Global Women Business Awards, and I was up for Speaker of the Year 2022. Guess where I placed? Everybody thought I would win. I became first runner-up in the world. Can I tell you how powerful that is? Out of all these great speakers, I'm first runner-up. It matters that I was a finalist, and then there's the winner, and then there's here I am. I'm still counted as the best, one of the best in the world. And finally, when you do your call to action, if you want them to check out your website, check out your white paper, if you want them to taste your sample, be very specific about what you want them to do. And don't forget what your secret sauce is. Most of us have heard about our perceived flaws: age, race, class, sex, sexual orientation, differently able, disabled. They're your secret weapons. You might be like, no, it's not. Let me tell you why it is. They never see you coming. They think that you don't measure up. They think that your perceived flaw is not good. Let me tell you something. When everybody else is looking for a particular type of person to come in and pitch and to speak your stuff, they've discounted me because I'm supposed to be the fat girl talking about food. But when I come in and I slice and dice on this stage, you'll see why. 13 out of 14 times I've beaten Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Columbia, cool tech companies, international companies. They never saw me coming, and they dismissed me early. See, I grew up studying other people who look nothing like me. They have never studied me. That is a secret power. So I hope I answered your question.
You could go on for. I'll stop you and ask one question because this has come up recently. Older people who are, they come in and say, "Well, we want a 24-year-old who knows about," but here I am, a 55 or 60-year-old who knows a lot. How do you go out and deal with that?
So that goes back to what I just said about your secret weapon, right? So I'm not here to say that ageism, racism, all of it don't exist. What I am telling you to do is use it to your advantage. So while they're looking for that 20-year-old young buck that they might not be able to, they don't have to really pay. The problem is your training is going to be inadequate for them, and they're going to inevitably make a lot of mistakes. When you have someone who's in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, they've seen it all at that point. And you all, just like me, are going to hit the ground running because there's so much against us. So did you see when I walked in the room and I was like, ladies, raise your hands? Mind you, I was 327 pounds. So I'm already supposed to be relegated to the back. And I decided not to. But the reason is, someone could look at someone who's older, and it's not just that you have experience, it's the fact that you stood the test of time. See, young people are supposed to be, oh, we got the great ideas and stuff like that, but you can't execute. We know how, because we've had to execute over decades. We've seen recession after recession, inflation after inflation. We know how to really strategize in a way you don't, because you don't have it. And so, whereas most people say, oh, our experience, and that's cute, but you have to really tell the story behind what that experience is like, right? For example, I'm a former attorney. So I came out during 2007, 2008. If you remember the mortgage crisis, that's when I came out of law school. So a lot of attorneys were not being hired because people didn't know how bad it was going to be. But you know what I decided? Y'all don't have to look at the other people, but I'm gonna come in from so many different directions. And I actually was hired by the New York State Attorney General's office, and they rescinded my offer. What does a Black chick do? I actually wound up in medical malpractice, products liability, and toxic torts, something I never thought about. But I was able to take the fact that that I won all my cases in special remand court. The fact that even though my GPA was a 2.9, I worked at Sullivan and Cromwell and clerked for a federal judge in the Southern District, which tells you what my speaking, my talk game is like, my persuasive game is like. So the very things that you think, oh, well, I'll just experience it, doesn't work. It doesn't work.
I somehow think it would be very difficult to say no to you.
You can say no to me. You'll be back later, though. You will.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know, there's
But like I
no.
said, use it to your advantage. And listen, and can we be clear? Every no, most no's are really a blessing, because like confidence is you have to keep going with that muscle, flex it. You hear no, you may try something a little different, or you might go into a different industry. And sometimes people forget that. They're like, oh, well, I've only done this. Babe, what are transferable skills? There are other places you need to be. So when you're at these networking events, even if you're not looking for a job, there may be someone who has an opportunity you've never considered. But because you've been just saying the same things over and over and over again, you forget that there are other places that need you. Mm-hmm. And so that is the gift of me being the killer pitch master and the pitch queen. I hear what's said and what's not being said. And also too many of us are in the same places where it might be oversaturated, and there are other places you need to be. All of us are going to get older, Lord willing. So when I remember being young and saying, oh man, by 30, I'm going to be old. Man, at 43, man, I think listen, I'm a whole snack. Come fetch me. Okay. Precious, do you want to be 20 something? No. Do you want to be 30 something? No. In my 40s, I feel so comfortable because the things I accepted in my 20s, the things I accepted in my early 30s, we do not accept in our 40s. I paid my dues just like you. And so when people want to say that I should accept anything because I am Black or because I didn't come from a particular family, you know what I throw back at them? The very things I've been talking to you about. Oh, well, I didn't know that. Yeah, so it's time for me to let you know.
Stop right there. Your website again for people on how they can
My website is www.perfectpitches, Pitches, byprecious.com.
Okay. Well, we got to get in there. I'm sure people are already starting to say, let's go. But now, hold it up again longer than just showing it like that.
This that shameless plug. As you all know, I'm a 4-time #1 best-selling author. And so when I asked you that question in the beginning about who wants to be a bad bitch with a power pitch, my first book is Bad Bitches and Power Pitches. This was reviewed by Forbes magazine. And the title article was Pitching is Bitching. When have you ever heard Forbes put curse in the title? That's how powerful this book is. It's on the psychology of pitching and the 7 branding personas. If you do not know anything about pitching, this starts off with the psychology of pitching.
Let's stop right there. What do you mean by a pitch?
Well, remember what I said earlier. It's a short, brief way of introducing you, your business, your books, your brands, your product or services in a way that captivates and titillates and gets you closer to the sale, the relationship, or the referral.
Okay, well, it's important enough. Let's go over them again, because I think you go through it too fast. You may be fast, but people like me are a little slower.
Go through what again?
How you broke things down. It was such a powerful message. I want to do it again.
Oh, because I did. So because there's the basic pitch, and I gave you the killer pitch master pitch, right?
Right. And so but do it slower, because people, like me, we need time to catch it in there.
Okay. So again, when I was talking to you all about a basic pitch, it was all about who you are, what you do, who you serve, your secret sauce, and then your call to action. What do you want people to do?
It's a powerful message. It's a powerful message.
It's powerful, but you can go to the Google and get that. And because people only hear that, that's why I preface it by saying basic. That is why I wrote this book, because there's 7 branding personas to pitching. So I gave you what pitching is, but if you don't know where you fit into it, like, are you unstoppable? Are you ruled by numbers? Are you ruled by power? Are you funny? Are you mysterious? Are you creative? This book breaks down all 7 personas, and you usually find yourself in 1 to 2 of those. So once you understand who you are when it comes to pitching, then there's my second book, Bad Bitches and Power Pitches, the workbook. So this is more about creating the perfect pitches for your brand, your books, your business, your products and services. But you're starting from a framework of which one or 2 out of those 7 you are. So now you're going to create the elevator, the media, the investor, the sales, the speaker, and the interview pitches that are right for your brand. So you don't sound average, random, and ordinary like most people do at networking events, or when they're pitching to media, or when they're pitching for where the money resides with investors.
Mm.
My third book is called Pitching for Profit, the Bad Bitches Playbook to Convert Conversations into Currency. You notice I didn't say cash, because if I said cash, that's cheapening it. Currency means relationships in addition to cash. If you have the right relationships, you'll be like NBA Youngboy, never broke again. So Pitching for Profits, once you have your pitches together, this book shows you how to build and rebuild your network to monetize it. Many people are looking to build their memberships or building up their mailing list. I also show you how to get VIPs in different industries to notice you from your social.
Precious, I don't want this to turn into a sales pitch for you.
Okay, no, okay, good.
Well, and unfortunately, we're coming to the end of our time. So as we always ask, what would you like to leave our audience with? Because
Okay.
the time has gone by really fast.
Okay. So where does the money reside? Where the money resides? It resides in creating a pitch that pays and slays. Again, my name is Precious Williams. I am the proud founder and CEO of Perfect Pitches by Precious. And if you're struggling with how to pitch yourself to your network, if you are struggling with how to get media attention, or if you're also struggling with how to grow your business, maybe your books, your brands, your product, or services, please check us out at perfectpitchesbyprecious.com. And I will show you how to take your pitches from trash to straight cash. Again, Precious Williams, founder CEO, Perfect Pitches by Precious.
Your website one more time.
www.perfectpitchesbyprecious.com.
On that note, we say thank you, Precious.